left-hand side, slightly ahead of us, see the white ship with a yellow funnel? That is the Wellington, once a sloop in the Royal Navy. Now she's used for the Honourable Company of Munster Mariners. Now if you look just behind the Wellington to our left as we're going by, look into the embankment wall, you'll see a stone archway. That's the Temple Bar, which is the boundary line between the city of Westminster, we're now leaving, and the city of London, we're now entering. The city of London is one of the smallest cities in the world, measuring 1 square mile. That's just behind the Wellington to our left. A bit of information about the tides on the River Thames. We have 2 tides every 24 hours. At the moment the tide's flooding in from the sea. The tide floods in for 5 hours, then it ebbs back out for 7 hours. We have a rise and fall of roughly 7 metres twice a day. But just ahead of us to our left, you see the construction work. That's more of a sewage system we're building. But behind there, see the red building with a scaffolding around it, built in a Gothic style. That was the Sion College, a college for the Anglican clergy. Stored in that college was over 300,000 volumes of books. Also there, the first Bible, what was translated into English, and it was printed by William Caxton. The building just past there with a green sloping roof, that's recently been closed. It was the old City of London School for Boys. Many famous people passed through there, including Lord Asquith and Sir Winston Churchill. The semicircular building on the corner to our left, Unilever House, headquarters for Lever Brothers, the soap detergent manufacturers. Now the bridge ahead of us, the Blackfriars Road Bridge, opened in 1869. It is the most interesting bridge to span the River Thames. If you look either side at the stone columns, the supports of the bridge, look at the top of these supports, you'll notice they resemble the pulpits of a church. They was put there at the express wish of Queen Victoria to commemorate the Blackfriars Monastery, which once stood on the left-hand bank in the 13th century. Hence the name Blackfriars. Now as we go through the first bridge here, look either side of us, you'll see some red columns. That's all what's left of the old St Paul's Railway Bridge, designed by one of our famous engineers, Isambard Kingdom Brunel. The third bridge, the grey one, that's the Blackfriars Railway Bridge. They've actually built a new railway station which goes right the way across the bridge, and you can enter the station from either side of the river. Now over to the left-hand side, dominating the skyline, you'll see the magnificent dome of St Paul's Cathedral. Took 35 years to build, completed in 1710. It stands 365 feet high. This was a foot for every day of the year. Building the crypt of St Paul's, you had the Duke of Wellington, Lord Nelson, designer himself, Sir Christopher Wren. To our right, you see the large chimney stack. That was the old Bankside Power Station, now been converted into a gallery for modern art, part of the Tate Gallery complex. The bridge ahead of us, the new Millennium Footbridge, when this opened in the year 2000, it cost £18 million. But it was only open for a few days and it had to be closed as people walked across. It swayed from side to side. As you see, it's now reopened. It cost another £5 million to put right. Now through the bridge to our right, you see the white timber construction with the thatched roof. That's a replica of the old Globe Theatre of William Shakespeare's times. Was being financed by Sam Wanamaker. He unfortunately passed away. His daughter Zoe took over the completion, opened in the summer of '98, now playing some of Shakespeare's plays.
Should have gone native. Culture.
Oh, I like the pillars on that one.
Now the bridge ahead of us, the Summer Road Bridge, opened in 1925. But look ahead of us to our right, dominating the skyline, you'll see the tallest office block in Western Europe, the Shard. You can now book up, visit the viewing gallery and get a magnificent view of London.
I reckon there's a few of the architects must have been on the opening. There was one Juice as well.
I like this building. It's kind of like a football. It did actually come up when I looked up. When I looked up the Italian restaurant. There's really not much space between buildings. They like are all.
Now the bridge ahead of us, the Cannon Street Railway Bridge, but look to the right just before we go through the bridge. See the building with the red window frames, that's a very old, very famous riverside pub, the Anchor Bank site. Now parts of that building's over 500 years old. Many famous people have been to that tavern, people like Dr. Johnson, Samuel Pepys, the diarist.
Something would be 500 years old, wouldn't it?
I noticed we've got the goose.
Which would have been fun for them. But this is on 7 at the top. That's up and down 7.
Now if you look just ahead of us to the right hand side, in the dock there, you'll see a replica of Sir Francis Drake's old ship, the Golden Hind. Now she's normally open to the public, but as you can see all the masts have been taken down and it's got all the scaffolding around it. They're doing quite a bit of work on it at the moment. But that's a replica of the Golden Hind, Sir Francis Drake ship. The bridge ahead of us, the new London Bridge, opened in 1973 by Her Majesty the Queen. The old London Bridge was took down stone by stone. It was shipped off to America, where it now stands in Lake Havasu, Arizona. Look to our right though, in the gap of the buildings, you'll see a lovely old cathedral. And that's the Southwark Cathedral. It does date back to the 12th century.
Buried in there, isn't
It's like they didn't want to lose any stuff.
it? Oh, sorry.
12. Yes.
Now as we go through London Bridge, look in the gap in the first two buildings to our left, and if you keep looking over there as we get level, you'll see the stone column with the golden ball fire on the top. That's the monument designed by Sir Christopher Wren to commemorate the Great Fire of London in 1666. If you laid the monument down in an easterly direction, it would reach the exact spot the Great Fire started, in a small baker's shop in Pudding Lane. The ugly looking dark glass building to our left, we don't know much about. We think it might be a training headquarters for window cleaners or something like that. But it did up to recently belong to one of the major banks. The sandy coloured building just past there to our left, that was the old Billingsgate fish market. There's still a fish market on that site for nearly 1,000 years. Well known for its fresh fish, porters for that foul language. New Billingsgate fish markets move further downstream on the island docks. The large impressive building to our left with a clock in the centre is Waterguard House, headquarters for the Customs and Excise. But to our right, all along the embankment there's a complex of new buildings. There's offices, private hospital, luxury apartments, shopping centre, public houses, health clubs, you name it, they've got it. All the area to our right is known as Ace Galleria, London Bridge City. It's all owned by one man, a member of the Kuwaiti royal family. Also to our right, the large green warship, the HMS Belfast, she's permanently moored there, open as a museum to the public. Was the largest cruiser of her type in the Royal Navy. Last fired guns in anger in the Korean War. Also one of the first warships to be fitted with radar.
Oh, there's the shard. No? See it between there? Posted on our right. Sorry?
Oh, what's the stand there? Just take some photos. Go.
Now as we pass the Belfast, keep looking to our right, you'll see a modern glass building there. This used to be the headquarters for the Mayor of London, the Assembly Hall, but have recently moved out to new premises. But over to our left, you'll see the world famous Tower of London, commenced in the reign of William the Conqueror in 1078. Been a palace, a fortress, a prison, a royal mint. The last person to be imprisoned in the Tower of London was Rudolf S. Adolf Hitler's deputy. But look along the embankment wall to our left, you'll just about see the bricked up entry with a writing above it, entry to the Traitor's Gate. That's where the trace of this country was rolled down river by a boat from the Westminster Abbey, took them through that gateway where they awaited execution on Tower Hill. Directly ahead of us, the Twin Towers of the world famous Tower Bridge, opened in 1894, built in this Gothic style to blend in with the Tower of London. The centre bastions of the bridge were raised to allow shipping through, way over 1,000 tonne apiece. They used to be lifted by an hydraulic mechanism which only needed a pint of water to set them into motion, which was quite a feat of engineering. Now they work electrically and they break down a lot more. But through the bridge we have our next stop over to our left, St Catherine's Pier for the Tower, or Tower Bridge Tree. If you've got the Tower London ticket, the Circular Cruise ticket, this is where you leave us. If you're returning to Westminster, the boats return every 40 minutes until 4:30. If you're going on to Greenwich, just stay on the boat. Once we leave here, we are direct to Greenwich. Now just before we go alongside the pier, just like to ask you to stand your seats till we're safely alongside the pier, please. I say once we leave here, we are direct to Greenwich. So if you've got the British ticket, stay on the boat. If you've got the Tower of London, Circular Cruise ticket, you leave us at this point to get your return boat. Now just past the pier to our left, you'll see a dock entrance. That's the entrance to St Catherine's Dock. It's one of the oldest, smallest docks on the River Thames. Now the yachting marina for the hotel, but it's well worth a visit. Nice public house called the Dickens Inn. Also the Carvery restaurant, shopping precincts, and some nice boats to look at. But look over to our right, you see Butler's Wharf, the luxury apartments. When you think a few years ago, you wouldn't give that building a second look. All it was a run-infested old derelict warehouse. What they've done is cleaned them up, converted them into apartments. Now you'll pay about £1 million for a one-bedroom apartment. The penthouses go for about 4.5 million. Now, this is where we conclude with a guided part of the tour for the people leaving us here. I'd just like to point out the commentaries on these boats on the River Thames, they are done on behalf of us, the crew, to try and make your trip a bit more enjoyable. We feel it's a bit of a waste of time, you're going on a trip on the river, if no one tells you what you're looking at. We do upkeep, maintain the equipment ourselves to make these commentaries
ये है
possible.
लंदन टावर
If
और
you care to
स्नोफॉल
show
हो
your
रहा है
appreciation for
वाह
my efforts as a guide, you may do so very shortly. I'll pass amongst you in the old traditional manner. Used to be a top hat, but it's an ice bucket now, metal ice bucket. But please feel under no obligation whatsoever. It is voluntary on your behalf, same as giving the commentaries are voluntary on our behalf. If you are going to Greenwich, we do only come round with the ice bucket at this point, but we will carry on the commentary as we go downstream. Thank you.
Second time a snowfall. Wow.
Thank you. Any appreciation for commentary?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
ये कमेंट अच्छा लगा तो इनको पैसे दो क्या बात है क्रूज पे बैठनी है स्नोफॉल शुरू हो गया ऊपर आते ही यहाँ से देखिए नज़ारा This is the Tower of Bridge. This is London Bridge. Yeah, and that another one. Tower Bridge is on the fourth flag you have seen. In that one. Just back to. Just back this building, you know. This building, historical building. There is the crown and everything inside. You have to go by.
This bridge is called
This is
Tower.
Tower Bridge.
This bridge is
This bridge.
And London Bridge is which one?
People like London Bridge. People like say like that. But this is a Tower Bridge actually.
This is the pretty one.
Yeah, yeah. The people looking for the. Yeah, see the
It's
snowfall.
snowing.
Yeah, it's wonderful. The second time it's snowing.
Tower Bridge and London Bridge. They're not the same.
No, this is two separate. This is people call the
That is Tower of London.
Tower of London, and this is London Bridge.
London.
Yeah, you get confused on this.
Yeah. So this is London Bridge. But don't look like
Yeah, Tower of London. Yeah, that's great. Okay.